Canadian Parliament scandal. Accidental invitation of World War II Nazi veteran sparks outrage in Russian propaganda. This is what we're going to talk about today. Hi, I'm Elena. Welcome to my political channel, Enough of Propaganda. Enough of incompetence, what I could say to my fellow Canadians. I'm Canadian and I feel upset, angry, outraged, and very disappointed of what happened. Let's talk about what actually happened. In a recent scandal, Canada's House of Commons Speaker Anthony Rota made a significant mistake, horrible mistake, by inviting a man with World War II background who was originally from Ukraine to the Canadian Parliament during the President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, President of Ukraine's visit. Both leaders and parliament members applauded Yaroslav Hunka, or Hunka in English, believing him to be a war veteran on the right side. Later, it was revealed that Hunka was fought for Nazi units during World War II. It's Galician division branch of Nazi Germany's Waffen-SS, which was involved in civilian massacres. Government House leader Karina Gould expressed embarrassment for Canada's Parliament and the President of Ukraine, emphasizing that only Speaker Rota actually was responsible for the invitation and the government has no prior knowledge of his coming, of that man is even coming to Parliament. And this is true. Canadian Parliament or Canadian Prime Minister or President of Ukraine, none of them knew who that man was and that he was even invited. Speaker Rota issued a formal apology and later resigned. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau expressed deep dismay over the incident, stating that it was embarrassing for all Canadians. He praised Canada's support for Ukraine and was deeply embarrassed. And I agree with him on that matter. I emphasize that Canadians and Ukrainians are not Nazis and don't support Nazis. Canada and Ukraine fought Nazis in World War II. Ukraine as a part of the USSR and Canada on its own, together with another allies. And I want to express my opinion on the matter. Number one, I agree with my Prime Minister that I quote, this is something that is deeply embarrassing to the Parliament of Canada and by extension to all Canadians. Of course it is. I feel it myself. Even though it seems to be an honest mistake, I am glad that Mr. Rota resigned. But in my opinion, it should have been done sooner. He should have done it sooner. And it's not good what happened. And it shouldn't have happened. And I have questions to my government about how that Nazis ended up in Canada. Canada is not Nazi haven, period. And if somebody misinformed because there are some rumors about that, this is not true. And I give you a link in the description to the article which can educate you on the matter. Number two, Canada and Canadians are not Nazis. Ukrainians are not Nazis either. About 7 million Ukrainians died because of Hitler in World War II. The total Ukrainian losses likely vary between 40 and 44% of the total casualties of the USSR. As you know, USSR consists from 15 republics. One of them was Russia and another one was Ukraine. But almost 50%, 40 to 44% of all the losses of the whole USSR was Ukrainians. And now, thanks to incompetence and negligence of some Canadians, Russian propaganda is having a blast by discrediting these people, by discrediting millions of Ukrainians who died, by proclaiming Canadians and Ukrainians as Nazis. I really had fed up with it on Quora the other day, when only lazy, every useful idiot and Russian troll, except for lazy ones, didn't kick Canada for that. I live in Canada for over 20 years, and I met a lot of Canadians. We are deeply sorry for what happened, deeply angry and deeply upset. And we are not Nazis, and I'm not gonna take it. Just because of mistake of one person, it's not fair to tell that way about all Canadians. And I'm not gonna have it. Number 3, we Canadians support Ukraine. Canada is helping Ukraine a lot. I am glad that Canada is helping Ukraine. This is exactly what I was demanding from my government in the very first day of full-scale invasion of Ukraine by Russia. And per capita, Canada total bilateral commitment are 50% of what the USA committed to Ukraine. This number is from February 2023. Canada is a big country with a small population. We are second biggest country in the world, but our population is about 39.6 million people. The USA is the biggest contributor to Ukraine so far, if not counting Russia. Sometime in 2022, after Ukrainian first counteroffensive, Russia left a lot of weapons, tanks, and so on, and became the biggest supplier of the military aid to Ukraine, apparently for the time. But so far, USA is the biggest, but per capita, per person, Canada is about 50% of what United States supplying. Number 4, I'm not gonna tolerate Russian comments in my video about that matter. Not the fascist dictatorship Russia, who started and continues the aggressive war in Ukraine since 2014, who commit war crimes there every day, will teach a democratic country like Canada how to behave. I'm sad that the Canadians' mistake give Putin and his trolls such a pleasure, but I'm not gonna have it on my channel. Number 5, Nazi crimes has no limitations. If the information about Hunka is true, he has to either stand trial here in Canada or be deported to Poland or Ukraine, where his unit committed war crimes. And I don't care that he is 98 years old. He deserves to die eventually, as we all will die. So he will die someday, by natural causes anyway. But he deserves to die in jail, and not in a fancy home in my beautiful country, Canada. And I really would like to find out how many of those Nazis ended up sneaking into Canada. They should be stripped of their Canadian citizenship if they have any, because they obtained it illegally by lying about their past. And there is no limitations, time limitations for that. They have to be charged and punished. And preferably not in Canada, because Canada is way too nice of a country, and as far as I heard, Canadian jail is a resort where prisoners planting gardens, riding horses. They don't deserve to be in jail like that. They deserve to be in real jail. And number 6, my main point is, don't get distracted from helping Ukraine stop Russian Nazis right now. If Putin expects that we will soon forget about his embarrassment when Ukraine destroyed the headquarters of Russian Black Sea Fleet in Sevastopol recently and killed many top officials and perhaps Russia's Black Sea Fleet commander, all the world will believe in Russian fairy tales about so-called Ukrainian Nazis and will stop helping Ukraine, he is mistaken. This will not going to happen. Number 7, the important thing is, our Prime Minister Justin Trudeau pledged 650 million Canadian dollars in aid for Ukraine, including sending more armored vehicles, as well as providing additional funding for mental health and charitable initiatives. Canada also imposed new sanctions against Russia. And if to talk about United States, ATACMS, long-range missile systems will be provided by US to Ukraine. Excuse me. Putin has no hope that the world will stop supporting Ukraine, no matter what he does. So let's focus on helping Ukraine instead of blowing one Canadian mistake out of proportion. As a Canadian citizen, I will demand answers from my government about how this Nazi ended up in Canada and stay here in the first place. And I want to know what will be done about him and about finding out if there are other war criminals hiding in Canada. However, this is our Canadian internal affairs and no business of Russia. Our allies in the World War II and countries who suffered from Nazis and nationalities or ethnic groups like Jewish people, they have rights to express their displeasure and that they're upset about what happened. Russians don't. They should first clean up their own house, who committing Nazi crimes right now in Ukraine. Only after that I would be inclined to listen what Russians has to say on the matter. Thank you for your attention, and have a great day.